G'day and welcome to Mustang Motorsport, where we produce the fastest and best performance Mustangs in the country. Right here we've got the new release of the RS3 for 2020-21 and also the Jack Roush Edition. And we're going to go through these vehicles and show you what they're all about. So James is the other face of Mustang Motorsport and he's going to actually tell us about these cars. So James, tell us what's different about the Jack Roush Edition to the RS3.
Well, they've both got the new R9 body kit, which is new for 2020, which has got all the new gloss black features on the car. So on the front end of these two cars, they actually are very similar. They both feature, you can see here, these new corner pockets down the corner here. These are actually open.
So why are they open, James?
So we actually have, for the Jack Roush Edition and the RS3, extra intercoolers. So Roush did a lot of development work on the GT500 actually, and they've put it into their own vehicles. So these are the first cars to market really with these extra intercoolers. So there's a second supercharger intercooler on this side, and then on the other side is a second engine radiator. So they do that to get more surface area across the intercooler cores to keep engine temps down. So it's a pretty cool feature.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that means this is ready for the track.
That's it. So they designed this car to actually perform on the track. 2018 Mustangs are known to overheat. They have, especially when you supercharge them, and they need to get heat out of them. So Roush has come to the party and designed these new ductings. So it's a cool visual feature, and also everything is functional. Roush is all about functional.
Yeah, there's additional cooling on this as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so underneath the car at the back, the differential has an intercooler, and also the transmission, if it's a manual vehicle, will have a cooling duct, channel cold air across the transmission, and a automatic vehicle has an upgraded transmission cooler. It's about twice the size of factory, so it can keep the transmission cool as well when you're putting 750 or 775 horsepower through it. So they also have carryover from the 2018 Roush, the functional front splitter and canards. So these ones here are reinforced underneath. I think it's the only manufacturer that goes that extra mile as well out of all the aftermarket products, and has reinforcements underneath, so it actually generates downforce. So Roush is really all about functional, so it's pretty interesting.
Functional performance for a cool car.
That's it. So one of the big differences you can see on the front here is the badges. The Jack Roush Edition has the American flag on it, so it's a very American patriotic vehicle. The Roush RS3 has their classic 3 badge that's been on, I think they started doing that back on the S197. So if you see a 3 on it, you know that's the top of the range Roush Mustang, but when there's something else on the front there's usually like a limited special edition.
So these both, looking at the hoods, they have the cooling vents, or the extractors, should I say?
Yes, so the RS3 and the Jack Roush Edition have these new ones. This same thing, that's part of the R9 body kit. These are exclusive to the build vehicles. Yep. So unfortunately you can't have these retail, but they are exclusive to people who are going to pick up one of these full vehicle builds. So they also have this new vent on the side here. So the Jack Roush Edition and the RS3 both have these. Once again, it's the first Mustang for these new models that have a functional side vent, like even the Shelbys don't have that. So that's all part of the new intercoolers down the front here. It's helping get the air out from there and also get hot air out of the engine bay, and they are functional. You go for a squirt up the hills and around the track, and you can feel the heat coming out of those corner pockets, which is pretty cool. You know that it's actually doing something.
Yeah, I think it's something like 20 degrees C cooler under bonnet temperature, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a lot when you
That's
think
a
about
lot.
it.
Yeah, it's very good.
Which is pretty nice. So nice. So one of the big features on the front here with the Jack Roush Edition is the big GT350 brakes on it. So they have an upgraded brake kit, front and rear, 6-piston front, 4-piston rear. The RS3 just has an optional 2-piece lightweight rotor with upgraded brake pads if someone wants to go that way.
I also noticed that there's a stripe difference, so we've got a stripe package difference on these two cars.
RS3 doesn't have a stripe on the bonnet. They keep it kind of sleek and clean, I suppose. And the Jack Roush has this all new design.
All right, so moving on here, we've got wheels are different. So tell us a little bit about the wheel package on these cars.
Yeah, so both the Jack Roush Edition and the RS3 got forged wheels. So they are 275 tyres on the front and rear, and they're both forged lightweight wheels. One benefit about being the 275 front and rear, when the car gets serviced and everything, you can actually rotate them and get good tyre life out of them because you can, put them back to front.
Okay, so it's a square wheel.
Square wheel setup. So Roush do the square wheel setup for, they believe, like handling balance, and I actually like that too. I find the Mustang does benefit from having the same front and rear. I think it feels more balanced that way. So I actually like how they've done it that way as well.
Yep. So with that combination, what's it like with the steering feel and that, and like feeling the road with the suspension that Roush have tuned?
So one of the new features of the Roush, same thing with in the Jack Roush Edition, is it does have a Magneride suspension. Yep. So the Magneride suspension is modified in the Roush vehicle, and they do have different modes. So normal mode, it will be comfortable and nice. Track mode, it'll have a bit stiffer, and even if you do drag mode, it will back off the shocks and help the car launch and take off. Yep. So the combination of that with the wheel and tyre package being square, it feels like a very neutral car. Like you turn in the car, the back's got the same amount of grip as the front kind of feeling, so it feels confident to drive. It doesn't feel oversteery, it doesn't feel understeery. So you can really be quite quick on the track, so which is quite good.
We were talking about the hood stripes earlier. Let's have a look at the side stripes, because there's actually a difference for 2020.
Yes, it's come through.
So, well, I noticed that the hockey stick's gone from both of these cars, or they're not on these cars or present. So we've got a couple of different varieties here. So this RS3, I actually really like this combination where it sort of accentuates from the vent.
Yep.
I think it's a really cool look.
Yeah. So it's a cool new design. It actually is a little bit of a callback to their S197 again. They had that on the RS3. Yep. And I think, like anything, they design a new stripe design. People pick it up and copy it or do things, so Roush moves ahead and does something new, and so they're the trendsetter, I suppose. Yeah. So I think it's a cool design with it. The great thing with the RS3 is there is some colour options as well. So on this particular car, we've optioned it with the red, but it can also have the silver or black if it just wants to be all blacked out. The Jack Roush Edition, which is over here, that's got a side stripe which goes the whole way along the body of the vehicle, and that is locked to be the black with the silver. It's kind of a little bit shark-like, I guess, with the gills and this stripe along the side of it. So that's unique to the Jack Roush Edition, where the RS3 has the slash design. You can also option it without the stripes. Yep. So, and there is one other little cool graphic on the side, is both on the rear quarters, they have the American flag, so you know it's an American vehicle, which is pretty neat feature as well. Yep.
This one's got a signature, the other one hasn't. Why?
Because this is the signature edition. It's the Jack Roush. So
that's There's a reason for everything, right?
It's the top of the range one. So.
Yeah. So we've got the flags on the rear quarters, but also let's have a look at the rear of these cars and see what the differences are. Right?
Yep.
With the 2020 RS3, what have we got different?
So they've got the upgraded little diffuser deflectors on the bottom here. Yep. So that adds to the rear diffuser and makes it a bit more aggressive looking. And they've got the Roush spoiler. So that Roush spoiler has been around for a while, but it's just been a super popular item. And this year they're only available in matte black on the car. So it doesn't matter what color your vehicle is, they'll all be matte black. Rear deck lid with the Roush on the back of it is exclusive to the build cars as well. So these are only, if you see one of them on the back of the car, you know that it's a genuine Roush vehicle. And then it's got a lot of horsepower under the hood. So.
I noticed your taillights are different. They're pretty cool. What'd you do there?
Did a little bit of a modification to them. Yeah. So we've actually pulled those apart, changed the internal lenses on them to give it a bit more of an American look, but also a bit more European/American look. Yeah. So a bit of a mix of the two. So I think it looks pretty cool, especially on this silver colour. Yeah. It kind of ties in with the stripe on the side. Yep. So
yeah. Cool feature. Looks great.
Yeah.
Get yours done today. This carbon fibre spoiler is a nice touch. What's this all about? So
this is an all-new item for the Jack Roush Edition once again. Pretty special, looks a bit different, and it has a little party trick up its sleeve.
I love to go to parties, yeah.
So we turn the vehicle on, and she comes up. So this is a Roush active wing. When you get to a certain speed, it actually lifts up and goes down again under a certain speed, and it runs on 4 different modes depending on if the car's in track mode, normal mode, sport mode. So when it comes up like this, it does increase downforce on the back of the Mustang. So in race mode, it's probably its most functional setting. So it'd be pretty good down in the local racetrack like Phillip Island or something, into turn 1. Extra downforce on the back of it. So it's a really neat feature. Once again, I think it's a first for a Mustang to have an active spoiler on it. That's kind of supercar stuff right there, and definitely a really cool one to show your mates. So once again, that's a special part of this Jack Roush Edition, and this is a very limited car, so it does really have some standout features on it.
Yep, yep. And Roush wind tunnel all their cars anyway, so everything they do is a practical feature of their production.
Yes.
So I'm sure this will do the job for you on your Jack Roush Edition.
Yep. The back of the Roush, Jack Roush Edition 2 has a different exhaust system on it. So this one actually does have the Roush quad system. This was featured on the FM, the older models, 2017 Mustang, but they have the satin black tips, full active, with the fact integrated into the factory controls and everything like that. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit extra everywhere on this car over the RS3. So pretty neat. So would you like to check out inside?
Let's have a look at them. So we're in the car here. Tell us the differences in this between that and an RS3, I guess.
So both the Jack Roush Edition and the RS3 get retrimmed seats. The Jack Roush Edition does have a red and leather suede design seat, and one little new bit of, I suppose, information is the design is actually matched in with the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So this design with this stitching design on the car, it matches in. If you go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in America, in Jack Roush's area, it's got this design there, which is pretty cool. So it is celebrating Jack Roush after all, so that's why it's got that in there. The Jack Roush does come with the Alcantara with red stitching steering wheel. Once again, kind of matches the outside of the vehicle. And in the automatic, if it is an automatic, it's got billet aluminium shift paddles to add to like the driving experience. If it is a manual, which you can option this with a manual, it has a red shift knob as well. So it's kind of, there is, the transmission touch points are in red, or the action points in this car are in red. The seats, the paddle shifters, the steering wheel, they're all the action parts. They're all in red. They do have billet pedals as well, and we have a exclusive plaque on the dash as well. So this one is it's probably a little bit more fancy than the other one, with the brush finish and the polished on there, and it's got to actually side profile the car on there, which is pretty neat. So if you're going to have a Mustang and a special edition one, number 66 is pretty cool. Yep. So which is, you know, not a bad thing.
Absolutely.
So in here, the you can see it's got this MagnaRide badge down here, so you know that this vehicle's got the recalibrated Roush MagnaRide suspension. It also has the gauges up here with the boost gauge, so that's been added into the factory vent location as well. So this is all part of the Jack Roush Edition. So really the interior matches the outside for customization and make you feel like you're in something really special.
Yep. So 775 horsepower this thing's producing. How's that go through the automatic transmission of that?
So because of their redesign, recalibrated the transmission to suit the supercharger, it all works well. And obviously we have the transmission coolers that we've been talking about earlier, and the engine coolers and everything. So everything is designed to work. Roush only really designed things to work for their full warranty period. Obviously it's just 5 years, 100,000 Ks on this particular vehicle. But you know, it's going to work perfectly for the life of the vehicle, really. So if you'd like, we can have a look under the bonnet and show you where all that horsepower comes from.
The bonnet, that's Aussie. It's under the hood.
It's under the hood in America, yes. All right, let's do it.
Hood strut.
Yeah, so that's something a little bit different. The RS3 just still uses the factory hood prop, where the Jack Roush Edition, part of the package, has the Roush hood strut kit, which is nicer if you're going to car shows. You don't have that stick in the way, affects the look of that kind of thing there. So under the bonnet, the RS3 and the Jack Roush Edition, you look at them and you go, they're the same. But this one's hiding a little bit more horsepower, and it's got something a little bit more special under here.
So I noticed the vents obviously extract through the side here, on both sides. You can see through there. Yep. This also has a smaller pulley, is that right?
It's actually the same size pulley, so they run the same factory boost. The biggest difference is the fuel system. So the direct injection system on the 2018 Mustang is really at its limit once you're just putting a supercharger on it. Other engines like the new Predator GT500 doesn't have direct injection because it gets a bit complicated when you're supercharging it. So Roush has come to the limit of the factory system, horsepower they can make with the factory fuel system. So it actually has an upgraded direct injection fuel pump. So I think that's another first for this car. And it's the only, you know, production, aftermarket production vehicle that's got a this new direct injection fuel pump with a higher pressure. So that higher pressure, new calibration, it allows them to get that extra little bit of horsepower safely. Really underneath, it's not kind of unassuming between the two, but it does have that little bit more horsepower, so you notice it in your bum.
Yep. So the other thing is, we talk about reliability, all those things. Ford sell these cars out of their dealer network in America, which has high volumes of vehicles.
Yes.
So Roush is not messing around as far as making sure everything's engineered to suit the market and also to suit reliability, and to make sure that these things are going to run hard and fast for a long time without having issues. So
yeah, so I think it's good to remind anyone interested in these RS3s, that's why you might be watching this video. The Roush is an engineering company, and they do co-develop vehicles and things for Ford and for the OEM manufacturers. So they make things to a certain standard. So that's why when they build their vehicles, you look at them and you go, that looks like something that rolled off a production line. And that's probably the highest compliment they could ask for, because that's what they're after, that's what they're about. It's about a car that it's modified, but it looks kind of like it came from the factory like that. And there's something to be enjoyed about that in these vehicles, from like how the body kit and the components are designed and how they fit and finish, to how the engine works and the drivability and everything like that. So, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, they spend the money to make an engineered product that's perfect for the fit. Yeah,
and it makes it easy for us in Australia, because we can engineer them and comply them and put our second stage manufacturer compliance plate on these, because they've gone through all the testing, the emissions and everything else. Yep. So it makes it really good for everyone.
And for you folk out there who are really keen to know more about these, we actually have mod shops in each state that can build you one of these cars, either on your pre-existing car, or you can buy a brand new one and get that produced for you without having to travel to Mustang Motorsport in Melbourne. I forgot something, James. Come over here. Let's look at this. La la.
Yeah, I've got the ROUSH toolkit here. So it's also one last little handy feature. It's got, if you're at the track here, it's got the basic tools that you might need: tire pressure gauge, even tread wear when you're on the track, which is cool, and some gloves if you need to get your hands dirty. So nice little add-on there with it, and really kind of finishes off the car. The keys also on the Roush vehicle have the Roush logo on here, so that replaces the pony. So even when you're not near your Mustang, you're driving a Roush vehicle. So pretty special.
Awesome.
So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any more questions about these vehicles, please leave a comment down below and we'd love to answer them for you.